Hi guys, and I hope preparation is going on good. Jan 26 are coming up and this video is going to be such a game changer. This is a very important chapter in your CA inter paper. In fact, one of the most predictable questions in your paper at question number 2 or question number 3 every attempt is this chapter called TDS. Of course, they have a cousin called TCS which we've done in class. We've also done advanced tax in class. So this is the one which we are going to be tackling. I'm going to be taking it from the start. I'm going to explain you what is TDS and then we'll cover all the sections here in this video, and then this is one video where we'll cover all the sums as well. So just watch this video till the end and share it with your friends, because if they clear, you clear, then it will be a great party together. So let's begin. My name is CA Sourabh Mutha. I've taught you tax, DT and GST both. I take classes at CA Inter and CA Final both. This is where we are learning TDS. So let's first understand what is TDS through a very simple example. Maybe you know the example, so revise with me. This chapter can be revised with me also, can be learned with me also. Alright, so here is TDS, tax deducted at source. The government says, listen, I want tax, but I want it ASAP, as early as possible, as soon as possible. And hence for that, the government has created a concept called TDS. They've also created a concept called TCS, and they've also created a concept called advanced tax. That means your tax can be paid some part through TDS, some part through TCS, some part through advanced tax. And finally, if there's something still left to pay to the government, you can pay through self-assessment tax. Example, if I have to pay totally 1 lakh to the government, can I pay 70,000 here? Can I pay 10,000 here? Can I pay 10,000 here? That's totally 90,000. So what about the balance 10,000 I can pay when I pay my self-assessment tax? These are 4 different ways of paying income tax to the government. Now we'll focus on the first part because that's the part which is the most important one, very commonly asked in the exam. This TDS part is what we'll be focusing on. So I'm going to right now discuss the sections, give you lots of shortcuts, because guys, these shortcuts are amazing. You'll remember TDS like a boss if you watch this video till the end. Let's start. The first section is a very simple section, and for TDS there's a small shortcut here. The shortcut is whoever is the payer, the person who is making the payment, you have to put that payer in the middle. Example, you have gone to Big Boss or you have gone to KBC, Kaun Banega Crorepati or Big Boss, and you have won 7 crore. So that is the amount that you won maybe, and we'll call this person Mr. A. And this Mr. A has won some money at KBC, not 7 crore. Let's keep a simple number. He's won 10 lakh rupees. When KBC is paying him 10 lakh rupees, KBC says, listen, yeah, I'm paying you 10 lakh rupees today on the 1st of December. This guy is very happy. This KBC income is casual income. It will go in his IFOS. And of course, he will pay tax, but not today. He will pay tax after the year ends on 31st March. After that, in July, October or November, whenever his return filing due date is, we call it John, he will pay the tax then. And this is not liked by the government. The government says, listen, if you're going to win the casual income today, 1st December, why am I going to get my tax so late? So they tell KBC that, KBC, listen, can you do a small favor? Whenever you're paying him 10 lakh rupees, can you deduct a small amount and can you pay to us? And we'll call it, this is called TDS. KBC says, of course, you're the government, you make the rules, no problem, you tell me how much tax to deduct. So they say, because it is casual income, you will deduct 30%, so you will not pay 10 lakh rupees. 10 lakh minus 30%, you will pay only 7 lakh to Mr. A. And whereas 30%, that is 3 lakh, goes to the government. So the government is very happy because they've got the money. Now, whose money is this? Is this KBC's money? No, this is Mr. A's money. So the government says, give me his PAN number, so that ultimately this 3 lakh rupees is his tax and I can give him a credit. Let's talk about it. The payer in the middle, this guy is always on the recipient is on the left hand side and the government is always on the right hand side. If you draw this diagram, your sum will more or less be right. The section is section 194B, B because betting casual income, and they say that if you are getting an amount which is more than 10,000 rupees, that means you have to cross the threshold. Only when you cross the threshold, yes, here only when you cross the threshold of 10,000. Example, what if you win a very garib amount, chiller amount of 5,000 rupees in KBC? Guys, in that case, it is taxable still, but there will be no TDS. And the TDS rate is 30%. It cannot be more than 30%. So 30%, no surcharge, no says nothing here. 30% will go to the government. Now let's see some common points. Some common points basically means, will KBC have to pay every day to the government? No. It's like your electricity bill. Do you pay your electricity bill every day? No. You paid after the month end. Same way, after this December month ends by January 7th. So by the 7th of the next month, you need to pay. So every month, the next month by the 7th. Only for the month of March, which is the last month, you can pay by 30th April. So only for that, but this due date is not important. When you pay, you have to make sure you have the PAN of the other person, because if you don't have PAN, how will the other person get credit? And now I'm going to explain what is this credit part. This TDS can always be taken as credit. I'll tell you what is credit. Mr. A ultimately is earning 7 lakh rupees, but actually it's 7 lakh plus 3 lakh because 3 lakh was also his money only gone to the government. So in IFOS income, he will show 10 lakh rupees. So why 10 lakh? He's only getting 7 lakh. No, you're not getting the point. 7 lakh plus 3 lakh government is getting. So his income is 10 lakh rupees. Hear me out. He will end up calculating his tax liability on 10 lakh, and let's say, just assuming the tax liability on 10 lakh is, let's say, 3 lakh 16,000 rupees, just saying. Now on that, the government says, listen, I already have got your TDS of 3 lakh rupees, so you can always take a credit, and the balance is 16,000 which you have to pay. To understand this, I'll give you a very simple example. You go to a local grocery store, and at the start of the month, you pay him 10,000 rupees, and I'm going to buy all the groceries from you. You keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. At the end of the month, if the bill is 12,000 rupees, will you pay him 10,000 again? No, you pay the balance 2,000. And what if the bill, sir, is 9,500? Then you'll get 500 rupees refund. Same way, if your tax liability is lower than this, they will pay you the balance as a refund. And guys, they pay you refund with interest. Nirmala Sitharaman does not keep anyone's extra money. They pay you back the money along with interest. So this is the concept of section 194B for betting, 10,000, 30%. And this is the first section. We'll keep counting how many sections that there in totally TDS. So this is the first section. And if you want to write handwritten notes, you can go on the drive link TDS. You can go to the first page and you can copy section 194B. Let's go to the second one. The second one is also very, very similar. But instead of any Big Boss or KBC, this is a horse race. So you've gone to some horse race. You've gone to some race club. And again, they are the pair. Again, the same thing. This is Mr. A, and Mr. A has won 10 lakh rupees. Same concept here. This is the government. You can always draw the diagram in rough work in the exam also. And in the horse race, the government is saying that, listen, can you deduct TDS at the rate of 10%? Same thing. Only thing is here, the section changes. It is a bigger bet. Section is 194BB. BB is bigger bet. And here also the threshold is 10,000. Now let's talk about the threshold. What do you mean by threshold? What if I win 9,000 rupees? Then it's taxable but no TDS. And what if I win 12,000? Then on 2,000 TDS or 12,000 TDS? Think like the government. Government says on the entire amount I want tax because they'll get higher tax that way. So once you cross the threshold, then you have to ignore the threshold on the entire amount. You'll have to pay TDS. This TDS is at the rate of 30%. Everything else is the same. You'll have to pay by the 7th of the next month. You have to give the PAN. And you can always take credit of the TDS. This is the second section. Let's move on to the third one. Guys, this is the third section, again on betting only. Now, no one goes to KBC, guys. No one goes to a horse race, but we all have the Dream 11 app on our phone. Of course, it's been banned now, but still, guys, this section is still there in case they bring back Dream 11 and such companies. Guys, this is a betting app. This is a payer. You downloaded Dream 11, you put 10,000 rupees in Dream 11 and you started betting, and on 10,000 rupees, congratulations, you made 1 lakh rupees. That means you have gained 90,000 rupees in this Dream 11. This is again Mr. A, who is a dreamer. He has dreamed 11. Now here is the government again, and the government says, Dream 11, can you do me a favor? Whenever you're paying him this 1 lakh rupees, which he won on Dream 11, can you deduct a small amount and can you pay it to me, and we'll call it TDS at the rate of 30%? Yes, because even 194B betting was casual income, 30%. Bigger betting was also casual income, so 30%. And this one is also 30%, guys. Now I'll tell you the section. So on 1 lakh rupees, 30%. Then why did they not include this in 194B and all? The government said, no, this is a betting app. So online gaming, the section is section 194B. So in the exam, if you see an online betting, then the section, or online game, then section is 194B. The TDS remains the same, that is 30%. But here there is no threshold. And here it is not on the entire amount, it is on the net winning. Example, that's the reason they have a different section. Example, you invested 10,000 rupees, you got 1 lakh rupees. So your net winnings was 90,000 rupees. So TDS will only be on 90,000, example 90,000. And government is very smart. The government initially had said that the TDS will apply whenever you withdraw. So whenever you withdraw money from Dream 11, TDS will apply. But now people are smarter. So they don't withdraw money only. So government says only if you withdraw, there will be TDS. What if you don't withdraw? So the government says whenever you withdraw, or maximum by 31st March, that is the end of the year, even if you don't withdraw money, we will deduct TDS on your net winning. So this is it. When should Dream 11 pay the government? Common points, 7th of the next month. Can this person take credit? Of course, he can take credit. And what else is there? 7th of the next month credit. Yes, along with his PAN. Yes, you are also give his PAN. So let's summarize all the three sections. Betting, bigger betting and betting app have the same TDS rate of 30%. Betting and bigger betting have a threshold of 10,000. Here there is no threshold, but there is a net winning concept here. Guys, these are the three sections that we just finished. Let's move on to the next one. The next one, this is the fourth one. Good news, there is a section called 194O online. Now that has been removed from your portion. So it's there in the handwritten notes. If there is a sum also on it, ignore it. In the exam, it will not come. This 194O has been removed. And I'll show you how you know it has been removed. Let's go to the ICAI material. I'll just take you to ICAI material. Here we go. I'll just open up the ICAI material here for you. No problem. Even if it's cutting, you'll still be able to read the part that I want to show you. Yes, this is, I'm searching for 194O. Here we go. 194. Oh, so let's search for 194O. It used to be there, but now they have removed it. It is not there anymore. See 194O, we don't get any searches. If I directly do 194O also, we will not get any searches because the same has been removed. So that's a good thing. One less thing to by heart, one less thing to learn. Let's move ahead to the next section, fifth one. Guys, in the fifth section, we'll talk about a very unique case. Here it is. Guys, this is a bank and you are Mr. A and you run a restaurant. Let's call about all the examples from Mr. A's story only. And you run a restaurant like Rameshwaram Cafe, you run a restaurant like a McDonald's, a burger joint, etc. And you require money every day, cash, because people will give you money and you need to give them back money. So you go to the bank and you withdraw notes, you withdraw cash. You go to the ATM, you go to the bank branch and you withdraw notes. Notes is a shortcut. And the government doesn't like it because, as you know, government introduced demonetization. So the government says, listen, yeah, we don't like this notes, we don't like this cash which you are removing every day. So this is the government. They tell the bank that, listen, banker, can you do me one favor? Whenever it comes to withdraw notes from your ATM or cash from your bank, etc., can you deduct a small amount and we'll call it TDS. Now the section is, because you're withdrawing notes, the section is section 194N. But sir, I don't think this is applicable because I have gone to ATM and I have withdrawn money and I have never had the TDS problem. Yes, only if the withdrawal in the whole year is more than 1 crore rupees. That means if you withdraw more than 1 crore from one account from 1 year, only then there is TDS. In your small withdrawals, there is no TDS. So only if the money crosses 1 crore rupees, there will be TDS at the rate of 2%. How do you remember? Everyone has at least 2 bank accounts. That's a shortcut to remember. This is 2%. So example, if I withdraw first 20 lakh rupees, no TDS. Then 80 lakh rupees, no TDS, because I've still reached only 1 crore. Now again, if I withdraw 10 crores, yes, on this 10 crore at the rate of 2%, this is the only section or one of the only section where the TDS is only on the excess amount. Example, once I cross the threshold of 1 crore, it's not on the entire amount, only on the excess. This section is so that the government discourages you or gets to know who is withdrawing so much cash. Common points, you will pay the government by the 7th of the next month. Of course, you can always take credit of this amount and you will give PAN. Banks anyways have your PAN number. They have your bank account details. So they anyways have your PAN number. This is 1 crore rupees. Now 2 exceptions, guys. I'll talk about the first exception. If you're withdrawing from a cooperative bank, our name only has cooperative in it. In that the limit is 3 crore rupees. So generally 1 crore, but there is an exception of 3 crore rupees in case of cooperative bank. Next exception. If you take a typical bag with you, then this TDS will not apply. What is this typical bag? If you are a bank yourself and you're withdrawing money, guys, banks require cash. So if they withdraw money, no TDS. Even if it crosses 1 crore, no problem. If you're an ATM service provider, example, you manage ATMs and you withdraw cash and you deposit in the ATM, no TDS. And if you're the government yourself, so that's a special bag. If you have the special bag, golden bag, magic bag, there will be no TDS. This is the concept here. Now, I have a solution here to avoid this TDS. Very simple. Of course, only for education purpose. The moment I reach 1 crore withdrawal in one bank account, HDFC, I can go to another bank account and withdraw. Government will not come to know and there will be no TDS there in that case. I hope that is clear. So it is per account, per bank. Example, if I have HDFC Bank 2 accounts, then both the accounts together, because HDFC Bank will know me. But per bank, it should be more than 1 crore. And last, the government has created a punishment. They said that in the last 3 years, that means if your exam year is 24-25, if let's say this is your exam year 24-25, last 3 years means 23-24, 22-23, and 21-22. So in 1 year, second year and third year. If in the last 3 years, what has happened is you've not filed your return in any of these 3 years, the government is a little upset with you and they have created another exception. They said in this kind of person, up to 20 lakh rupees, if he withdraws, no problem. But the moment he crosses 20 lakh rupees and goes up to 1 crore rupees, then on this 80 lakh, we will take 2% TDS. That means his TDS or her TDS starts early. And if they cross a threshold of 1 crore rupees, anything more than 1 crore rupees, while we have only 2%, their TDS will be 5%. That means 5% of the money will be blocked. This is only if you have not filed the return for all the last 3 years. What if I'm not filed for 1 year? No problem. All the last 3 years, only then there is this punishment. This is section 194N, N for notes. Let's recap. Section 194N, N for notes. If you withdraw more than 1 crore from a bank account, there will be TDS at the rate of 2%. Shortcut is everyone has 2 bank accounts. Only if the amount is more than 1 crore rupees, only on the excess. Per bank it is. Cooperative bank 3 crore. If you carry that back, no TDS. And in the last 3 years, if you don't file in any of the 3 previous years, only then there is this punishment. This is section 194N. Let's recap the 5 sections that we've done. 194B, 194BB, bigger betting, 194BA, betting app, 194O, which is now gone out, and 194N. This is the first 5 sections. Let's move ahead to the next 5 sections. Alright, let's move to the 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th sections now. TDS is a very interesting game and you have to remember the sections with shortcuts. 3 things you have to remember. I'll tell you what. First, the section. Whichever section like 194B, betting, betting app, bigger betting, online notes. Next, you need to remember the rate. How many bank accounts? 2 bank accounts. For casual income, 30%. So that you have to remember, and then you have to calculate that amount and give it in the exam. So you need to remember SRA, that's my shortcut, section, rate and amount. Let's move on to the next one now. This is the 6th section which we are moving ahead, and this is the one which is very easy and very interesting. Let's talk about life insurance. You already know what is life insurance, and you know that when we take life insurance, we pay a premium. And when we get money, what about the taxability? So if the amount you receive is on death of a person, then no questions asked whether the premiums are low, premiums are high, no questions asked. This is fully exempt. When you receive the amount returned back, there's no death, but you're getting a money back in the policy and the premiums have been low. What do you mean by low premium? Low premium basically means right now, any policy after 1/4/2012, guys, if it's up to 10% of the sum assured, example, if my policy is example, let's say for 20 lakh, then 10% basically means you can pay annual premium up to 2 lakh rupees. That is low. Even if that happens, it is exempt. But in case the premiums are high, even one of the premium is high, example, on 20 lakh, 2 lakh, but I paid 2 lakh, 5,000, even one premium 1 year, then this amount will be taxable. And if it is taxed, how will the TDS apply? First of all, the government had kept a threshold here that only if the amount that you're receiving is more than 1 lakh rupees, then this TDS section will apply. So let's talk about an insurance policy. Let's say HDFC Life Insurance or LIC Insurance is paying you money. Let's see how the TDS works. They are paying this policy to a person called Mr. A. This is called life insurance receipts. And here is the government on death and on low premium, because it is exempt. The government says because there is no tax, why should there be TDS? But in this third case is what we're talking about, high premium. The government says, can you deduct TDS and can you pay us TDS? This is basically the TDS concept. Here the TDS rate is 5%. How do you remember it? That at least person should take 5 times of his income as a life insurance amount. This is the concept here. And whenever you're getting some money which is more than 1 lakh rupees, and there are 3 steps here. Let's talk about the 3 steps. The first step, they say that the amount should be received should be more than 1 lakh. That means in the exam they say 95,000 receipts, then there is no tax. It should be more than 1 lakh rupees. Second, you have to calculate the net amount. What is net amount? Net amount means what you are getting. Example, this is a policy where you are getting 20 lakh rupees, but you have paid 2 lakh, let's say 7 premiums. So this is 14 lakh rupees, 2 lakhs into 7. That means this is like a businessman. When I'm buying this pen for 6 rupees, selling it for 10 rupees, my profit is 4. Same way, my profit is only 6 lakh rupees a year because I'm getting 20 lakh today. But for that 20 lakh, I paid 14 lakh. So only on the net amount, there is TDS at the rate of, so the third point is TDS at the rate of 5%. This is TDS. Because it is a death amount, the shortcut is section 194DA. And here the limit is, threshold limit is only if it's more than 1 lakh rupees. Here the TDS is 5% because your insurance should always be 5 times your income. That's a shortcut. Common things, when should government get the money? By the 7th of the next month. We don't have to repeat it, but I'm still repeating it for a first few sections. Still 10 sections we'll repeat, otherwise I'll tell you common points. 7th of the next month. Then can you take credit? Yes, you can take credit. And what else was there? 7th of the next month, you can always take credit. Yes, you need to give a PAN. Let's make a shortcut 7PC. That's a shortcut. And this is for all sections. 7PC will be applicable. If it's not applicable, I'll tell you about it. Let's recap section 194 DA shortcut, death amount. If you're getting life insurance money, but not on death, not on low premiums, only when the premiums are high, it is taxable. And if the premium that you are receiving is more than 1 lakh rupees, you have to find out the net amount, and on that TDS is 5%. Some TDS rates have changed during the year, but I'll tell you in the end what is the change in the rate. I'll collectively tell you in which section the rates have changed. But right now, this is the rate. This is the 6th TDS section. We move ahead to the 7th one. Let's see the 7th one, and let's see what is there in the 7th one. What is so peculiar in the 7th one? The 7th one, guys, is a very unique thing. So if you ask someone, do you scroll reels? They said, yeah, I start scrolling one reel, then second, then third. And then suddenly, guys, it's 4 hours and you're just scrolling reels. Now on that reel scrolling, there is TDS, and let's talk about that. Like, this is your favorite influencer. Let's say he's Technical Guruji, or he's some Instagram influencer, some tech influencer, some Ranbir Alabhadia is here, some Raj Shamani is here, and this is the Taj Hotel Group, and this is Apple iPhone. Now what happens is Apple is launching an iPhone and they want Technical Guruji to review it. So they are sending a free iPhone to Technical Guruji so that he can review it. They're not going to take it back. It's going to be with Technical Guruji only. And Taj is giving Raj Shamani a 3-day holiday in one of their Taj new resorts. And this is basically a gift. And this is in relation to their business and profession. They are getting a gift. Now here is the government. Government said, listen here Raj Shamani, listen Technical Guruji, these gifts are taxable. If you remember PGBP, any gift, an amount if you receive in related to PGBP, this is taxable. So they tell Taj and Apple that listen, you need to deduct TDS and pay to us, and this TDS is at the rate of 10%. The section is section 194R, R for reels. How will you remember 10%? This 10% is basically because you scroll 10 reels every day. Of course, that's a lie. You scroll 10 into 10 guys reels every day, but 10 reels every day is the 10%. And only if the benefit is more than 20,000 rupees, this benefit has to be a permanent benefit, by the way. What if they give you a phone and then take it back? Then there will be no TDS. Even if you pay TDS, you can always take a refund from the government. Let's recap. Section is 194. This is 10% of the amount. So, for example, the Taj Palace Hotel Resort voucher or the Apple iPhone value, on that 10% has to go to the government. And only if the benefit is more than 20,000 rupees. This is the concept. This, they will not tell you influencer in the exam. They will say gifts in relation to business and profession. Common amount 7PC. This has to be going to the government by the 7th of the next month. This is basically PC, basically means you need to give the government PAN, and guys, you can always take credit. Now let me teach you something new. What if you don't give PAN to the government? Example, what if Technical Guruji says, listen, I don't want to give the PAN, it's a secret, etc. Guys, if you do that, the government gets very upset. You cannot hide all these things from the government. Says, if you don't give me a PAN, whatever rate you are applied, like 10%, 2%, 5%, I'll make it 20%. So that's a punishment I'm writing here. If no PAN, that means if you don't give the PAN, then all these rates will change and they'll become 20%, and you can't even take credit because the government doesn't know it's your money. It's like going to the exam hall and writing a paper, excellent paper, but if you don't write the roll number, they will not be able to give you marks. So this is the concept of no PAN, which we've learned right now. Let's recap. Section is 194R reels. 10% if the amount is more than 20,000. 10 reels is the shortcut, and it's a gift in relation to business and profession. This is the concept. This is the 7th one. Let's move ahead. 8, 9, 10. Again, guys, we will do 10, 10 in parts. So let's recap the two that we've just done, section 194DA, and this is 194R. Let's move on to the next one. Guys, today only in the newspaper, I saw an ad of a crypto exchange. So buying cryptocurrency is a new deal. So this is something that you bought, cryptocurrency like a Bitcoin, or you can buy NFT. So there are a lot of different cryptos that you can buy. And this is Mr. A who's bought a crypto and now he's selling it. Let's say he bought the crypto for 10 lakh. Now he's selling it for 15 lakh and he's making a sweet gain of 5 lakh rupees. This is the government here. They tell this crypto exchange that listen, yeah, whenever this guy is selling a crypto, or they don't call it crypto, they call it virtual digital asset. and whenever you're paying him money, can you deduct a small amount and can you pay to me, and we'll call it TDS. Example, Mr. A, when he bought the crypto, it was worth 10 lakh rupees. Now he's selling it, so he's supposed to get 15 lakh rupees from the crypto exchange. The government says, can you deduct just 1% and pay to me? How will you remember it? I'll teach you. Guys, crypto is purely speculation, virtual digital assets, hence speculation. The section is section S, 194S, S for speculation. That's a shortcut. Next, guys, you all want to buy at least one crypto. That's a shortcut, guys. So everyone wants to buy at least one cryptocurrency, and hence the TDS rate is 1%. And not on every small cryptocurrency, etc. Only when the sale is more than 50,000 rupees. So only when the selling price is more than 50,000 rupees will this apply. So this is a section called 194S. Now, common points again. This crypto exchange will pay to the government by the 7th of the next month. PC, they'll need to give the PAN. You already know. If I don't give the PAN, then this 1% will become a dangerous 20%. But sir, in 194B betting, if I don't give the PAN, will 30% become 20? No. 30 will still remain 30, but if it's a lower rate, it will become 20%. And you can always take credit of this crypto. I have sold my cryptocurrency last year, and hence I had faced this section 194S. Let's recap. Section is 194S. TDS rate is 1% because everyone wants to buy one crypto, and this is only if the sale is more than 50,000 rupees. If you sell small virtual digital asset, there is no TDS. This is only if it's more than 50,000. This is section 194S. This is the 8th one. Let's move ahead to the next one, everyone. Let's choose something new, which is the 9th one, is what we will discuss. But till then, let's recap. 194B, betting. 194BB, bigger betting. 194BA, that online betting app. 194O, which is removed online. 194N, which is notes. 194R, which is reels. 194DA, death amount. And 194, this one right now, which we've done, S is speculation. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. We've reached the 8th stage. Now let's see which is the next one. Let's choose something very interesting for the next one. Guys, we've reached a stage that many people in India don't want to buy a house, don't want to buy a shop, don't want to buy an office, they rent it out. Example, we'll talk about Mr. A only. This is Mr. A who's starting a restaurant and he does not want to buy a place, so he takes a shop on rent. Shop basically means land and building. In the shop, he also takes the furniture on rent. And all the kitchen equipment, the plant and machinery is also on rent. So all these things are on rent, and Mr. A every month is going to be paying rent to all these people. And when he pays rent to all these people, it is the income. This guy in the middle right now is the payer. Now, when these guys earn rent, they will pay tax at the end of the year after 31st March in June, and the government doesn't want to wait. And hence the government said, listen, yeah, initially, whenever you take a place on rent, the shortcut is initially. Because initially no one buys a place, they already rent. The government says, listen here, Mr. A, whenever you're paying this guy rent, more than 2.4 lakhs in the year, threshold, not small rent, only more than 2.4 lakh, can you deduct a small percent and pay to me, and we'll call it what? TDS. So this is TDS. Whenever someone in India is paying rent, TDS on rent, if the rent that you're paying is more than 2,40,000, so this they've kept a threshold. Let's talk a little about this threshold. Let's say when you've taken the shop on rent, you're paying 20,000 per month. 20,000 per month into 12 is 2,40,000, no TDS. But 30,000 per month into 12, 3,60,000, yes, there will be TDS. And once you cross the threshold on the entire amount, you know that. Now, what if you're paying 15,000 here for the shop and 15,000 for the furniture? Will there be any TDS? Ideally, it should not be, because 15,000 into 12 is 1,80,000. But what if you're paying to the same person, let's say Mr. X? Then they said 2,40,000 per annum per person. So in this case, per person, Mr. X is getting 30,000 rent from you. So hence there will be TDS. Sir, you forgot to tell us the rate. I've not forgotten. I'll tell you the shortcut first. Rent increases every year by 10%. That's a shortcut. So the TDS is 10%. That's how you have to remember it. Rent increases by 10%. And the government says, listen, if you're renting plant and machinery, we don't want to block so much of the money. See, TDS basically means money being blocked. We don't want to block so much of money. Hence, the TDS rate here will be just 2%. This is basically TDS on plant and machinery. Some common points here. 7th of the next month you need to pay. This is basically you need to give the PAN. If you don't give the PAN, all this 2 and 10% will become suddenly 20%. And you can always take credit. These are the 3 things that you need to remember for 194I. Initially, you rent. This I think is the ninth one. Yes, this is the ninth section. Over to us, this is 194I. Let's recap. Whenever you're paying rent more than 2,40,000 per person per annum, 10% or 2% for plant and machinery, and this is the concept of rent. While this is applies to everyone, but what about individuals like students, etc.? What about their families like HUF? So the government said, listen, individuals and HUFs, you guys are small. That's a shortcut, guys. Small individual, small HUF. You guys don't have to deduct this TDS, so you all can pay rent. So example, if you're 2-3 students taking a house on rent in Bangalore, you don't have to deduct this TDS. This does not apply to you. That's a shortcut. Let's move on to the next one. So we just finished 9 sections. It's now time to graduate to point number 10. Let's look at point number 10, guys. Everyone, here we go. Just in the initial one, we had taken a place on rent, a shop on rent, a furniture on rent, a plant and machinery on rent. But now that you like the place, you want to buy it. So again, this is Mr. A, and he goes to that shop owner, and let's call him the shop owner or the landlord. And he says, listen, yeah, I started the restaurant there. I really like this place. Now can I buy it from you? He says, yes, you pay me 80 lakh rupees and you can buy it. So here is Mr. A paying 80 lakh rupees to the shop owner. And this is the government, guys, coming in middle and telling A, listen, A, when you're paying him 80 lakh rupees, can you deduct a small amount because you're acquiring an immovable property, and we'll call it TDS. He is acquiring an immovable property which is being acquired. So the section here is section 194 IA, immovable property which is acquired. Now, what is a TDS rate? Just like one cryptocurrency, everyone wants to have at least one immovable property that they buy. So the TDS rate is here 1%, but only if the value of the property is more than 50 lakh rupees, and this affects all of us in India. Every one of you will want to buy someday a house, an apartment, a shop, or go down a land, any immovable property. And if that property is more than 50 lakh rupees, you need to pay TDS at the rate of 1%. Let's take some common points. You need to pay this to the government by the 7th of the next month. When you pay, this guy can take credit of the TDS, and you need to give a span. If he does not give a span, this 1% will suddenly become 20%, which is very, very dangerous. Now, some exceptions. What if the shop owner says that, listen, out of 80 lakh, I am only going to take, let's say this is not 80 lakh. What if this is 45 lakh first? Then in that case, there will be no TDS. It has to be more than 50 lakh rupees. So I'm just writing it has to be more than 50 lakh rupees. What if, to outsmart the government, you say, listen, the shop price is only 48 lakh rupees and 10 lakh rupees is for parking? The government says no, together. Whenever you're purchasing anything with the parking, with the clubhouse, everything together, if it's more than 50 lakh rupees, then there will be TDS at the rate of 1%. So you already have to take 1%. Now, what if the value is 48 lakh? What if you're paying 48 lakh, but the stamp duty value is 55 lakh? Then will TDS apply? Yes. So more than 50 lakh, either the sale consideration or the fair market value or the stamp duty value, whichever is more than 50 lakh. So 48 or 55 lakh. On 55 lakh, there will be 1% TDS. That means whenever you're paying him 48 lakh, you will still pay 48 lakh, but you will deduct 1% of 55 lakh, that is 55,000, and pay to the government. Changing it, what if you are paying 55 lakh with the stamp duty value 65 lakh? Then think like the government, whichever is higher. So 1% will be on 65 lakh. So 65 lakh into 1%, 65,000. Whenever you're paying this 55 lakh, you will deduct 65,000. So you're still going to pay 55 lakhs, but you will deduct 1%, that is of the higher amount. What if you're paying 55 but the stamp duty value is 52 lakh? Then obviously on 55 lakh only there will be TDS. So very simple, whichever is higher amount, the TDS will be on that. This is section 194 IA. Let's recap section 194 IA, immovable property are acquiring. One property everyone wants to acquire, so it's 1%. It's more than 50 lakh rupees, either whatever paying or the stamp duty value, whichever is higher. And this applies to everyone, including those students who came to Bangalore to study. Now they're buying an apartment. The government said, if you can buy a land and building and immovable property for more than 50 lakh rupees, you can afford also to pay TDS. This is the concept here. Anything else I'm missing out? Yes. What if A and B together are buying this, and together they are paying 27 lakh, basically 54 lakh rupees? Then in that case, the government says, we will not see how much you are paying. We'll see the value of immovable property, the sale price. And because it is 54 more than 50 lakh, then in that case, TDS will apply, even if you're paying separately. This is because otherwise people pay separately to avoid this TDS. This is 194I. There are two exceptions IA. When you're buying a rural agriculture land, this does not apply. Why? Because on rural agriculture land, you know guys, there is no tax, there's no capital gains if you buy and sell. So on that it does not apply. And compulsory acquisition, when the government buys it from you, then there is no TDS and compulsory acquisition as well. So this is a section called 194IA. You can copy it from the handwritten notes, so that you'll get all the idea and all the pointers there from the handwritten notes. This is TDS section 10. Now let's go to TDS section 11. Same thing. This was the shop owner who wanted to sell the shop for 80 lakh rupees, but instead of you buying, this is the government of India buying, or this is a government department buying. This is called compulsory acquisition. The government is paying 80 lakh rupees, same concept. And here is their other brother, other cousin, guys. This is also government department. They say, can you deduct a small amount and can you pay to us? This is the same as the above one. Only thing is, instead of you buying it, this time it's the government buying. This is called compulsory acquisition. In case of compulsory acquisition, the section is, it is legally acquired. That's the reason the section is section 194 LA. And here, there it was, if the property is more than 50 lakh rupees, here if the value of they are paying, government is paying is more than 2.5 lakh. So that amount drops from 50 lakh to 2.5 lakh. And there the TDS was just 1%, that increases. So one thing drops, one thing increases. The threshold drops and this rate increases to 10%. Of course, now they need to also pay to the government by the 7th of the next month. This person, the shop owner, can obviously take credit, and this along with the PAN. If you don't give the PAN, the rate of 10% will become 20%. This is 194 LA. Let's recap. 194 LA legally acquired. If the threshold is more than 2.5 lakh, TDS at the rate of 10%. This is the concept. And if you compare this with the earlier one, here it was a higher threshold of 50 lakh and a lower TDS of 1%. So one thing has gone down, one thing has gone up. This is section or point number 11, 194 LA. Alright, so we're done with 11 of them. Now let's proceed ahead to the next ones. So next 3 are like triplets. You understand one, you'll understand all 3. But till then, guys, let's recap what we know till now. Let's recap the sections. 194B, betting. BB, bigger betting. BA, betting app. O, online. N, notes. 194R was reels. 194S was speculation. 194DA was death amount. 194I was rent. Initially we rent. 194IA was immovable property we acquired. And 194LA was legally acquired. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 done. Let's move ahead to the next 3. The next 3 are all the same. You understand one, you'll understand all 3. Guys, TDS is basically very simple. Whenever you're paying someone some money, the government says deduct TDS. But only on certain payments. Example, when you go and buy a coffee and you pay 30 rupees, or buy tea or pay 20 rupees, on that there is no TDS. When you buy a shoes, there is no TDS. So only on certain payments, which I am listing down here, there will be TDS. Let's see the next payment. This is Mr. A. He's looking out for a next shop and he does not know how to find the shop. So he asks a real estate broker to help him find a shop. Or he's Mr. A, he does not know how to sell his products, so he appoints an agent to sell his products. And to both this broker and the agent, guys, you have to pay some brokerage or some commission. So he's paying some brokerage or some commission. Now here is the government. The government says, listen, yeah, Mr. A, whenever you're paying this brokerage or commission, these guys will earn it today on 1st December, will pay the tax in the next year. I don't want to wait. Can you deduct TDS? So he says, yes, TDS at the rate of 5%, because all brokers charge 5% commission. That's how you can remember. These guys are helping you, so they are also called helpers. That's a shortcut. They are helpers. So section is section 194H. But not on small commission. Only if the commission in the whole year to one person is more than 15,000, there will be TDS at the rate of 5%. So section is 194H. H is helper. Whenever paying a broker or an agent, any commission or any brokerage more than 15,000 in the year, you have to pay TDS at the rate of 5%. Now this same points, the government should get the money by the 7th of the next month. This person can take credit and he has to give you his PAN. If he does not give you the PAN, then he's stupid, because he'll have to deduct 20%. He won't even get credit. Only one thing. This is again an individual story. If you are an individual who's come to Bangalore looking a house on rent, student, etc., we don't want to trouble you. So for individuals and HUF, you guys will be considered small. So this section, just like the earlier section, 194I was not applicable. Even this section is not applicable. So you all can just pay brokerage without deducting any TDS. This is section 194H. This is the 12th one. 13th and 14th are also the same. Let's see the 13th one. Very, very similar here. Again, guys, this is an insurance company like HDFC, like ICICI, and they don't know how to sell their policies. So they appoint insurance agent. So this guy is an insurance agent here. and they say whenever you sell a policy, we'll pay you some commission. So this is the commission being paid. Same story here. This is the government. The government says, listen, can you deduct a small amount and can you pay me? And we'll call it TDS. Same section. Only thing is this is insurance. That was general commission. That was 194H helper. This is 194D. How will you remember D? Because on death and for doctor's fees, you take insurance like life insurance, health insurance. The TDS rate here also will be 5% if the threshold of 15,000 is crossed. Same section here. So 194H and 194D are the same except one small thing. In 194H, small individual, small HF, there was no TDS. Here, insurance companies can never be small individuals. So hence, this applies to everyone. And we go to the 14th one, which is also very, very simple. This is a lottery company. The lottery company says we want to sell lottery tickets, but we don't know how to sell it. So they appoint an agent, lottery agent, who will sell the tickets, and for selling the tickets, they pay him commission. The government is here. The government says, listen, on this commission, I want you all to deduct any TDS. Same. Lottery basically encourages you to become a gambler. So section is 194G, G for gambler. The TDS rate here also is 5% if the commission is more than 15,000. Everything else is the same as here. D, H and G are all the same. H is for helper, general commission, general brokerage. D is for insurance commission, and this is for lottery commission. In all these cases, if the threshold of 15,000 is crossed, then the entire amount TDS at the rate of 5% will apply. What if I don't cross the threshold? Then there is no TDS. What if I'm paying 18,000? Then on the excess of the entire amount. Only section 194H, that is the commission part, is not applicable to small individuals and small HUFs. These are 14 done, guys. So many sections done in no time. Revise this with me and move ahead. Let's see what's next. Okay, so now we progress ahead to the next one. The next one is the 15th one and it is slightly different. So pay a little extra attention here. Guys, this is again Mr. A. If you remember, guys, he was looking to start a restaurant and today is his first day of the restaurant inauguration. So he's having a party. So he called a decorator and gave a contract to the decorator to decorate the place. He called a caterer to serve some cakes, pastries, etc. and he gave a contract to serve food. He called a goods transport agent to transport some goods to his new restaurant. He called an advertising company to do some advertisement for him, some social media company to make some reels for him, and to all these people, these are all contractors. He's going to pay some fees to all of them. These are contractors. Now here is the government says, listen, Mr. A, whenever you're paying in these contractors some money, they will get the money today, but they will pay the TDS or tax later. We don't want to pay it. Can you deduct some TDS? And we will call it, because these are all contractors, we will call it 194C. The threshold is 30,000. That means only if the payment per payment, if you're making, is more than 30,000. So if I pay the decorator 27,000, there is no TDS. But they put one more Lakshman Rekha. If in the whole year to one person you pay more than 1 lakh. So let me give you an example. If I pay the decorator first, let's say 27,000, no TDS. Again, I pay 27,000, no TDS. Like that, I keep paying. But the moment it crosses 1 lakh rupees, there will be TDS. We'll solve a sum around this as well. So 194C, C4 contractor, only when you cross the threshold of 30,000 per payment or 1 lakh per annum to the same person. What is the TDS rate? Because contractors don't make too much money, or you can imagine that they make only 2% margin. The TDS is 2%. And if you are paying to a contractor who is an individual HUF, then though the percent reduces even 1% because we don't want to block so much of their money. Common concepts, you have to pay by the 7th of the next month. That person can take credit. He has to give his PAN. If he does not give his PAN, he is stupid, because guys, the TDS rate will suddenly become 20%. He won't even get credit. Now, why is it so difficult? Because of the exceptions here. There will be no TDS in the following cases. The first one is small personal limit. If you're an individual HUF and if you are a small individual HUF, I'll tell you the definition of small individual, but right now every individual HUF, don't worry, when you all engage a contractor, you all don't have to deduct any TDS. If it's for a personal purpose, example, this was not an office inauguration or the shop inauguration, restaurant inauguration. If it was an engagement party and you were paying a caterer, decorator, no TDS. And if it's up to a limit of 30,000 and 1 lakh, no TDS. That's the first exception. Second, if you're paying to a GTA and the shortcut is 10 PAN, he has up to 10 goods carriages. So that's a shortcut 10 PAN. And he gives you his PAN number also. That means he's a small GTA. We don't have to block their money. So in that case, but remember 10 goods carriages and PAN. Next, if you're purchasing something, there will be no TDS. Example, if you purchase some decoration, etc., there is no TDS. only if it's a works contract. The word only has contract in it. What do you mean by purchase versus works contract? So on purchase, no TDS. On works contract, there will be TDS. What do you mean by works contract? If some furniture I buy from IKEA, that's a purchase, no TDS. But if I ask some furniture guy to come to my office to make some furniture for me, that and I give him SM, specifications and material, then it's a works contract. The word only has contract. So the moment you see in the exam works contract, then in that case there will be TDS. Next, if I'm Indigo Airlines and I land my airplane at Bangalore airport and I park it, then in that case, that is not rent. That parking is a contracting. So on that, there will be TDS. I'm writing it here, landing and parking. Landing and parking, there will be TDS, yes, but not 194I, because you're not just renting, but you're helping them, they are also helping you park. It's a contract. So 194C will apply, landing and parking. Next, if you take a go down on rent, 194I will apply, but if you take warehousing services, that's a contract. So anytime you see the word contract, 194C will apply. This is the reason this is slightly complicated. Let's recap. Section 194C, C for contract. Are you paying a contractor? If you are paying a contractor more than 30,000 in one payment, one shot, or in parts in the whole year, but more than 1 lakh rupees, then TDS will apply at the rate of 2%. If the contractor is an individual HOF, then at the rate of 1%. No TDS if it's a small individual HOF paying, if you're paying for personal purpose, and if it's up to a limit of 30,000 or 1 lakh. For GTA 10 PAN, up to 10 goods carriages, if the GTA has only up to 10 goods carriages, owns and has given his PAN number, then no TDS. And no TDS on purchase. On works contract, obviously, there is TDS. What is works contract? Where you give specifications and the main material as well. Now, let's talk about this limit. So, let's say I'm paying a contractor. First, I paid 30,000. Will there be TDS? No. Next, I paid him 40,000. Will there be TDS? Yes, on this there will be TDS because you crossed the Lakshman Rekha of 30,000. So 30 plus 40 is 70. Again, I pay him 30,000. Will there be TDS? No, because if you total it also, it's not more than 1 lakh. So both the Lakshman Rekhas you have to check. And now, even if I pay 20,000 to the same contractor in the year, 30 plus 40 is 70. 70 plus 30 is 1 lakh. So 1 lakh I have already crossed. So in this case, on the entire 1 lakh 20, will there be TDS? Yes. But on 40,000, I've already minus TDS. So minus that, and on the balance 80,000, there will be TDS. Let's recap. The government says if you cross any Lakshman Rekha, here no Lakshman Rekha crossed. Here any Lakshman Rekha crossed? Yes. Here no Lakshman Rekha crossed. Here 30,000 Lakshman Rekha is not crossed, but 1 lakh is crossed. So again, on once 1 lakh is crossed, on the entire amount, I will deduct TDS. But on 1 lakh 40, you've already deducted TDS on 40. So I'll remove 40,000. So on the balance 80,000, you will have to deduct TDS. This is the concept of section 194C. This is slightly complicated, but had to be done, and it's done. 194C. So this is the 15th section that we've done till now. Let's move ahead to the next one. Alright, we move and promote ourselves to the next one, guys. This is the 16th one. Very interesting, very important. Again, like 194C, something that is very important. Here is Mr. A. Now his restaurant has become bigger. So he requires professionals to help him, like make a website, make an app. A CA he'll require a lawyer. So he takes helps of 5 professionals called PTNRD. This is a regular professional like a CA, lawyer, etc. This T is a technical professional like an app developer. He has to pay non-compete fee to someone, maybe. He has to pay royalty if he takes something patent, etc. And he has to pay his directors. If it's a company, on a company you have directors, you might have to pay directors also. So you are basically making 5 payments to 5 different people. And again, these are professional fees. You know the trend, government is here. Government says, listen, Mr. A, whenever you're paying this amount, we will get the tax late. So can you deduct a small amount and can you pay us TDS? Because all these professionals are jealous of each other. The section is section 194J, J for jealous professionals. It takes 10 years to become a professional, a good professional. And hence, guys, the TDS rate is 10% because it takes 10 years to become a professional. That's a shortcut. But this rate has been reduced to 2% in 3 cases. If you're paying to a professional call center, if you're paying royalty but for a movie, and if you're paying for technical services, then it's reduced to 2%. And here also, guys, some very common things are here. The threshold limit here is more than 30,000 here also. And guys, here 7th of the next month, common thing. This person here can take credit, and if he does not give his PAN, he's stupid because he'll have to pay TDS at the rate of 20%. Guys, here it is important because here also there are some exceptions. No TDS in the following cases. The first one, small personal limit. If you're a small individual, small HOF paying professional fees, let's say to a lawyer, etc., no TDS. If you're paying a personal purpose, example, you're paying to a lawyer, but for unfortunately a divorce case or a family dispute, no TDS. And last, if the limit of 30,000 is not crossed, then no TDS in this case. This is section 194J. Next one. For director's fees, this limit of 30,000 does not apply. So that's the next exception. So when you're paying a director, even if you're paying less than 30,000, that means, pro tip, in the exam, if you see director payment, then on that entire amount, there will be TDS. This is section 194J. Let's recap. Section 194J, J for jealous professionals. If the amount that you're paying to a professional is more than 30,000 rupees, TDS at the rate of 10%. It becomes 10 years to become a professional. Small personal limit and directors 30,000 limit does not apply are two exceptions. This is point number 16. Let's move ahead. Let's move ahead to point number 17 now. Now in point number 17, there are some people who are really happy, and let's meet the first person who's really happy. This is a small individual and small HUF. Right now, you don't know what is a small individual, but remember, every individual, every HUF is small. You are small, I am small, your family is small, my family is small, and we are paying rent. When a small individual, small HUF is paying rent, if you remember, for rent, there is a section, TDS section, which is section 194I. Initially, we rent. This does not apply because a small individual, small HUF, the government says, listen, you, when you pay rent, we don't want to deduct any TDS. But by chance, we went to their house and we saw that their house, their immovable property was very big, very beautiful. And they were paying rent, and the rent they were paying is more than 50,000 per month. That means they were paying very expensive rent. So the government says, listen, yeah, you're a small individual, small HUF, you should have made small payment. If you are going to make such a big payment, then we might apply TDS to you. So let's continue the story. Small individual, small HUF, section 194I does not apply. But what will apply if the rent is more than 50,000, 194IB, immovable property that is big. This will apply only if the rent is more than 50,000 per month. So, sir, what if the rent is 48,000? Then there is no TDS because 194I does not apply. So, this section is only for small individual HUF. Then the rent is more than 50,000 rupees. The TDS you'll have to deduct and pay at the rate of 5%. This is it. Now, common points. You need to give by 7th of the next month. No. This is the first time the 7th of the next month is not there. The government has said, listen, you're a small individual. Instead of deducting TDS every month, you do it annually. So example, every month you're paying rent of 60,000 rupees. 60,000, take your calculator, into 12, 7 lakh 20. The last month into 5%, 36,000 you will deduct when you pay the last month's rent. So last month's 50,000 minus 36,000, 36 you will pay to the government, 14 you will pay to the landlord. So you will do it yearly, not monthly. The meaning is the same. The person can take credit. If he does not give the PAN, the landlord is stupid because there will be TDS at the rate of 20%. Now, this is a section. I'll tell you one peculiarity later. Let's recap. Section is 194IB. Yes. If the rent that you're paying is more than 50,000, TDS at the rate of 5%. How do you remember this TDS rate? This small individual, he's just 5 feet. So hence 5% is something that you need to remember. There are some changes in the rates. I'll tell you about it once we finish the entire chapter. I'll tell you which sections there are changes in the rates and when does a change happen. All right. Now let's see, if every month you pay 60,000 rupees, in the whole year you will pay 7 lakh 20, and when you're deducting TDS 5%, but what if he does not give PAN? Then 7 lakh 20 into 20% is 1 lakh 44. Out of the rent of 50,000, how will you deduct 1 lakh 44? So the government says, don't worry, you deduct the last month's rent, that is 50,000 or 60,000, whatever you're paying, and the remaining we will take from him. So example, if your rent is 60,000, and in the whole year 12 months 7 lakh 20, ideally you should deduct at 5%, but because he is not giving his PAN, you deduct TDS at 20%, which becomes 1 lakh 44,000 TDS you need to deduct. But how will you deduct 1 lakh 44 from 60,000? So the last month you technically don't pay any rent, you take the entire 60,000 and pay the government. And what about the balance? The government will chase this landlord for the balance. This is section 194IB, immovable property that is very big. Let's move on to the next section also. The next section also focuses only on small individual and small HUF. So let's continue. Both these sections are focusing on small individual, small HUF only. This one I think is 17 and this is 18. Both of them are focusing on small individual. Let's continue. Let's see what is this here. This small individual is paying some professional. He is paying some professional some fee. And when he pays professional some fee, TDS of 194J does not apply because 194J does not apply to small individuals. Next, you are paying to some contractor. Even in this case, section 194C will not apply because 194C does not apply to a small individual. So they are very happy they are making these payments, and he's paying to some helper. He is paying some commission. In that case also section 194C does not apply. Sorry, age does not apply. So these three sections don't apply to this guy. He's very happy and he's making the payment, no TDS formalities. But when the government saw that he's misusing this, he's making big payments, making payments of more than 50 lakh in the year, the government said, listen, you're a small individual, just like your rent was very high, here also the payments are very high, more than 50 lakh. So we will have to apply a section called 194M, M for misuse. Only if the payment you make in the whole year to one person is more than 50 lakh, either to professional or to a contractor or to the helper. TDS rate here also will be the same because his height is the same, 5%. This, guys, is section 194M. Guys, 194M and 194IB only apply to small individuals and small HUFs. So if you're a small individual, small HUF in the exam, who is a small individual, I'll teach you in additional points, but then these two sections will apply to you only if the rent is more than 50,000. And here, if the amount that you're paying is more than 50 lakh, example, if I pay 20 lakh, no. If I pay another 20 lakh to the same person, no. But if I pay another 20 lakh, yes. Now it's become 60 lakhs on the entire amount. I'll have to deduct TDS at the rate of 5%. And remember, the height is 5 feet. This is point number 18. Very interesting. Let's go to the next one. 19 and 20 are related. We'll talk about both of them together. The next one is something that you will face whenever you join your first job. So let's see what is this. Guys, this is EY. You become a CA and you've got your first job offer with EY, and this is you. This is a slave or this is an employee. This was also me at one point of time. When EY pays you your salary every month, let's say as an articleship also, stipend, the government is here. The government says, listen, EY, we don't want to wait till the end of the year for him to pay tax or her to pay tax. So can you deduct a small amount and can you pay? And this is called TDS. EY says, okay, so this is TDS on salary. So whenever you get some salary, there will be TDS on that salary. Remember, that is the whole scam in India. When they say 1 lakh rupee salary, you never get 1 lakh, you get minus amount. This is TDS amount on salary. Now on TDS salary, how is it calculated? Let's see how it is calculated. They say we'll not specify any rate. It will be the average rate. I'll tell you how to calculate this average rate. Guys, every company has 192 employees. That's the section because the section is section 192. So let's say some common points here. You have to pay the government by the 7th of the next month. Next, that person can take credit, and here very strange, if there is no PAN, then it's not even 20%. The rate becomes MMR if you don't give the PAN. MMR is maximum marginal rate. It's the maximum rate a person pays. Example, when you pay 30% tax plus when you pay 37% surcharge on that plus 4% cess. So if you do those maths, we've done this in rates of taxes, that is called MMR. This is a punishment if you don't give the PAN. But now let's come back to what will be the average rate. Let's take two employees. The first employee, let's say you've joined as a salary of 15,000 rupees stipend. 15,000 into 12 is 1,80,000. On that, if you remember salaries, there is a standard deduction of 50,000. So 1,30,000 on 1,30,000. So there will be no tax because there is a basic exemption limit. So in that case, there will be no TDS here. But if you take the second case, an employee who's a salary of 1,50,000, so 1,50,000 salary, not 15,000, will become 18 lakh. On 18 lakh, the EY will become like your CA. They will ask you if you have any house property loss you want to set off, if you have any other income, and they'll calculate your tax on 18 lakh. Example, on 18 lakh, in the old scheme, up to 10 lakh, it's 1,12,500. Plus on that 8 lakh into 30% is 2,40,000. So 2,40,000 plus 1,12,500 will give you 3,52,500. And this is the tax they need to deduct. So divide by 12. Every month they will deduct 29,375. This is TDS under section 192. Guys, in this case, there is a called average rate. Let's recap section 192. 192 employees in a company. Whenever you're paying them salary, please become their CA, calculate their tax and deduct divided by 12 and deduct it. This is MMR. If they don't give you a PAN, then it will be MMR. That is a new concept here. Let's go to the next one. I've lost count, but I think this is the 19th one. So let's go to the 20th one. 20th one here again is on employees. Let's see what happens. Guys, this is a slave. Let's call him Mr. A, and he has been employed in a company. When you're employed in a company, they deduct some amount and keep it in a provident fund. So this is his recognized provident fund. Guys, recognized provident fund. The amount he checked in that recognized provident fund was a good amount, let's say 12 to 15 lakh rupees. Now let's first recap what is a provident fund. A provident fund is like your bank account. It's for retirement. You should not touch it before that. You keep depositing money there, but it's supposed to be for retirement purpose. If it's a statutory provident fund, then even if you remove it, there is no tax on it, it's exempt. But recognized provident fund, if you withdraw within 5 years, there will be tax. After 5 years, there is no tax. We have learned this in a chapter called salaries. So you have an RPF account, example, you check this balance and the balance is 12 lakh rupees. You are very tempted to withdraw this money and to do Aram. So the slave is withdrawing this amount to do Aram. That's a shortcut, Aram. He says, I'll withdraw this 12 lakh rupees and he's withdrawing it prematurely. Prematurely basically means within 5 years. The government says, listen, yeah, if you had withdrawn after 5 years, I would have not deducted any tax, but here it's taxable. So can you deduct TDS? Here is it TDS at the rate of 10%. So you can imagine you have 10 lakh rupees in it as a shortcut. Is a TDS section here is section 192A. It is on premature withdrawal. It's on premature withdrawal of TDS amount. Premature basically means within 5 years. And the threshold is only if you're withdrawing more than 50,000. So the government says if you withdraw less than 50,000, it's taxable, but we will not deduct any TDS. So example, first year you deducted 10,000, no TDS. Second year you deducted 40,000, no TDS. But now if you deduct or if you withdraw anything more, there will be TDS. So no TDS in 5 years if the withdrawal is up to 50,000. Now this 5 years condition is very unique. The government says only after 5 years, but in 5 years also, if there is an exception, if there is something called lid means loss of job, or you have any disability or you have any illness, loss of job, illness or disability, and because of that you've withdrawn the within 5 years, then we will not have any TDS. So no TDS in two cases, up to 50,000 no TDS, and within 5 years in case of lid there is no TDS. This is the case. Let's recap section 192A, A for Aram. Whenever you premature withdraw TDS, PF, premature basically means within 5 years there will be TDS at the rate of 10%. Here there are two exceptions, up to 50,000 no TDS, and in 5 years because of lid there will be no TDS. These are 20 sections down. Let's move ahead to the next ones. All the next ones are very simple and they have the same threshold and same rate. So after 20 good sections, we move ahead now to the next ones. And before we move to the next ones, let's do a small recap while I get everything sorted. 194B was betting. 194BB was bigger betting. 194BA was betting app. 194O was online, which has been removed by the way. 194N was notes. 194DA was death amount. 194S was speculation. 194R was reels. 194D, AI was initially we rent. Like that we had done so many 20 sections now done. Let's move ahead. These are very common sections. So the next sections that we will see are all very common incomes that people in India earn. Example, interest income, dividend income, etc. And all that the common TDS rate of 10% will apply if the amount is more than 5,000 rupees. So this is the concept. So let's see what are these common incomes. First, we'll start with shares. So these are some shares, you bought some shares and on the shares you are getting some dividend. So this is you, Mr. A, he's an investor, and on these shares you earn dividend. Now as you know, dividend is taxable under IFOS, but you will pay the tax next year. The story is the same. This is the government. The government says, listen, share companies, Reliance, Zomato, etc. Whenever you're paying dividend, can you deduct a small amount and we'll call it TDS. This dividend has no section actually, it's just a middle 194 section. And in that, if you cross a dividend of more than 5,000 rupees, so every time they pay you and if the payment is more than 5,000 per annum, 5,000 per payment, then there will be TDS at the rate of 10%. So common rate is 10%. Some common points, you need to pay this by the 7th of the next month to the government. The person can take credit, and if he does not give his PAN, he's stupid because he will have to deduct TDS at the rate, or he will have to lose out on TDS at the rate of 20%. Now this 5,000 limit, there is an exception. If you ask the company to give you cash dividend, so, sir, can a company like Reliance pay cash dividend? No, but small private companies can pay cash dividend. In cash dividend, the 5,000 threshold is not there. So, in cash dividend, always there will be TDS at the rate of 10%. That's a punishment. Why did you take cash dividend? That's a punishment by the government telling you don't take cash dividend. Let's recap. Dividend more than 5,000, TDS at the rate of 10%. Cash dividend, no limit, TDS at the rate of 10%. Section is 194. But sir, I don't want to buy shares. I don't know how to buy shares. Can I buy mutual funds instead? Yes. So this instead of shares, this is mutual funds. You're not a shareholder anymore. You're a unit holder. Same person, Mr. A, you're a unit holder. You give your money to the mutual fund. Mutual funds will invest ahead in the Reliance and Zomato. They will get the dividend and they will pass it on to you, the unit holder. And this time we'll not call it dividend. We'll call it income from mutual funds. And if the income from mutual fund is more than 5,000 rupees, same thing here. The government says, listen, I want TDS here, and TDS I want at the rate of 10%. I have always believed in only one mutual fund, Kotak Mutual Fund, because they're the best mutual funds in the country. No, I'm just kidding. It's a shortcut. The section for this TDS is 194K Kotak Mutual Fund. And if the amount that you're paying, the income that they're paying is more than 5,000 rupees, the TDS will be at the rate of 10%. But sir, can there be a cash element here? No, 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 because mutual funds will never pay you cash. Small companies, so cash was a concept only in dividend, not in mutual funds. So let's recap. 194K Kotak Mutual Fund. If you see mutual fund income in the exam more than 5,000 rupees, TDS will be at the rate of 10%. Common points are the same. 7th of the next month, that person can take credit and you need to give a PAN. If there is no PAN, TDS will be at the rate of 20%. This is the next one. All right, we go to the next one. Again, same, the limits are the same 5,000, the TDS is the same 10%. Let's go to the next one. I want to earn interest, but not bank interest. I don't want to give money to my friend. I want to earn it from instruments like debentures. So I am buying some debentures, or I am buying some companies' bonds, or I am buying some government securities. When you buy these instruments, either half yearly or yearly, they pay you interest. This is again Mr. A who's earning interest, but this is not bank interest, guys. This is interest on securities. Here also, if the interest is more than 5,000, same here is the government. They tell these bondholders, they tell the government bodies that listen, you all need to deduct TDS, same rate at the rate of 10%. Only thing, the section is very unique. Till now, all the sections were 194. Salary, that section, and Aram, that section was 192. But this is the only section which is stuck in the middle, 193. This is basically interest, but interest on securities. And if the interest is more than 5,000 rupees, only then there will be TDS at the rate of 10%. Here also there is no cash because you cannot go and tell a bondholder to pay you cash interest. And here also some common points are 7th of the next month, 7 PC. P is PAN you need. If no PAN, you are stupid. And guys, credit, this is the 3 common points. The section is 193. Let's recap. Section 193. Did you buy some securities? Are you earning some interest? Yes. On that 5,000 rupees, 10% here and 7 PC is the shortcut here. We go to the next one. The next one is the 24th one. Unbelievable. We are doing so many sections in TDS. And if you can't remember all these sections, and you will, guys, because of the shortcuts that I'm giving you, 194K was Kotak Mutual Fund. 193 is interest on securities. 192 is salaries because 192 slaves. Jealous professional, C for contract. You will remember all of them. The next one is a little different. You have a national savings scheme. Now, let me tell you a little about the national savings scheme. What happens here? We've discussed this in deduction chapter, but I can go to a post office. I can give them a check of 5 lakh rupees and I can make a national savings scheme account or national savings certificate. They will give me a certificate which says Sourabh Mutha 5 lakh and they will pay me interest every year. It will get accumulated and after 5 years I can withdraw that money. So this is Mr. A who's withdrawing national savings certificate after a few years. Here is the government. The government says whenever you withdraw and if the amount is more than same threshold 5,000, the TDS will be at the rate of 10%. This process is extremely exhausting. The shortcut is EE, extremely exhausting because guys, this national savings certificates and all, you have to open in the post office and hence the shortcut is extremely exhausting. Here the limit was 5,000 but amendment happened and now this limit has been changed to 2,500 and this TDS is now at 10%. So this is, rate is the same but amount is different. So good news, 194E has been removed from your portion now, but I'm still explaining you because there are some exam questions on this. 194O and 194E are now not part of your portion. This is 24 and we go to the now the bigger number, the important number, that is 25. We are left with just I think 1 or 2 sections, that's about it, and then TDS will be over. Additional points I'll teach you and then TDS chapter will be over. We can move on to the sums after that. In the 25th angle, again you are A and you want to earn interest but not from securities. The security interest angle has been done. So now we go to our interest section which you and me use very frequently. We put our money in banks. So this is a bank which is a payer and he is paying us interest or they are paying us interest. But we can also give money to a money lender. We can also give a loan or put capital in a partnership firm. We can also give money to a friend and he can also pay us interest. So in all these cases, we are going to earn interest. But this is other than interest on securities. So interest on securities was 193. So in the exam, if they say interest on securities, focus on 193. This is besides that. Here is the government. The government said, listen, yeah, if you're going to earn interest more than 5,000 rupees, then I need TDS on that. TDS at the rate of 10% will have to be deducted in this case. So this is TDS at the rate of 10%. The section here is India's best bank is Axis Bank. So section here is section 194A, A for Axis Bank. And in that case, if your interest is more than 5,000 rupees, common TDS is at the rate of 10%. This is something that we already know. 7. Credit PAN is something that you already know. Now some exceptions. Here guys, the exception is a small pub. Let's see what is the exception here. In this cases, there will be no TDS in case of a small pub. Let's see first. If it's a small individual, small HUF, example, your friend is paying you, then in that case, there will be no TDS. If your partnership firm is paying you and you're a resident partner, that means you're in India, then there will be no TDS. Non-resident partners, there will be. Next, if you are paying to a bank, guys, when we take bank loans, we pay interest to the bank, not bank to us. Sometime example, if I bought a car on loan and I'm paying the EMI, I'm paying interest to a bank. But the government says, listen, if 100 crore people in India deduct TDS for banks, there will be a lot of blockage of money. So, and when you and me, you pay TDS to the bank, when you pay interest to a bank, no TDS. And next, for banks, when they pay you up to a certain limit, not 5,000, for banks, the government has increased the limit to 40,000. That means if a bank is paying me interest up to 40,000, they will not block my money. And for senior citizens up to 50,000, they will not block my money. This is bank. And sometimes there is an accident and there is a tribunal called Motor Accident Claim Tribunal, not MACD. This is MACT. In case of MACT, Motor Accident Claim Tribunal, in this case, if they pay you amount because of some accident where some accident happened and you had some injury, they pay you some compensation. On that, if they pay you interest up to 50,000, there will be no TDS. So a small pub, mainly it's this bank amount where 50,000 up to that there is no TDS. Example, if I have an account with HDFC Bank and I am getting interest of 30,000, no TDS. Another branch of HDFC Bank, 30,000, 30 plus 30, 60, yes, there will be TDS because bank, HDFC Bank, all the branches, so per bank this is. This is section 194A. Let's recap. Section 194A, A for Axis Bank. If the amount that you're getting interest other than securities is more than 5,000 rupees, TDS will be at the rate of 10%. A small pub is a shortcut for those cases where there will be no TDS. This is the second last section. Let's go to the next one, which might become the last section and then the additional points. Now there was a problem and you can understand this problem. First, let's understand this problem. There is this person who is a pensioner. He is little old. He is 75 years or more and he is earning pension. Let's first see his problem. He is earning pension and interest from a bank. So this is the bank. And let's put his some details. His pension is, let's say, 4 lakh rupees. And his interest, or let's say his pension is 3 lakh rupees. His interest that he is getting is 2 lakh rupees. So total is 5 lakh. So his tax liability actually is zero. He does not have to pay any tax to the government. And his pension and his interest are going to this bank and his bank is paying him pension and interest. And the bank is paying him interest, let's say 2 lakh rupees. You know the section 194A. In that, the bank will deduct TDS at 10% because we just learned if the interest is more than 50,000 rupees. So 2 lakh into 10%, the government will get TDS of 20,000 rupees. Now this guy went to the government to complain that government, actually to my tax liability is zero, but you've still taken 20,000 rupees because bank applied section 194A. Now I'll have to file my return, take a refund, wait for this money. So can you help me? I'm a pensioner. The government said, yes, there's a section called 194P, P for pensioner. We can apply this to you, but if you have to fulfill 3 conditions. Your age should be 75 years or more. You should earn only 2 incomes, pension and interest, no other income, no capital gain, no dividend. And it should be both be in the same bank account. Only then we will give you the benefit. So first these 3 conditions have to be met. Okay, met. Next. In this case, we will not apply 194A. So then what section will apply? The bank will become your CA and they will apply average rate. So if the bank asks you your income, you tell them, they will calculate the tax. Here the tax was 0. So the TDS will be 0. What if for some reason the tax was 5,210 rupees and they will only deduct 5,210 rupees? And the best part about this section is you will not have to file your return of income because we've already got your tax. So let's recap section 194P. P for pensioner. 3 conditions fulfilled, you should be old, only having 2 incomes, both in the same bank account, then your bank will become your CA, they will calculate your tax and only deduct that much tax. Best part is you don't have to file your return of income. This is another case of section 194P. These are 26 sections down. Let's see if we remember all the sections till here. 194 we started with betting and 194 we ended with Axis Bank. No, we ended with pension. These are 26 sections in the middle. When you write the notes, you can make a list also with the shortcuts. And remember, this is all the pair in the middle. We have one more section, yes, but I can teach you that in some time from now and some additional points, and that's it. That will be the end of this concept. Then we can move on to the sums. Very simple sum from this chapter. Alright, and we go to the 27th section. ये एक interesting section है, slightly different है. Let's understand what this 27th section is, and then we'll recap all the section with section and the rate. Guys, let's take an example. This is Chroma, and this is an AC company. Let's call it Voltas. They make very good ACs, and Chroma, to keep in its shops, they are buying Voltas ACs worth 80 lakh rupees and they are going to pay Voltas 80 lakh rupees. This is the payer, this is Chroma. Now, when the government hears that Chroma, you are buying such a huge quantity of ACs, 80 lakh rupees, the government goes to Chroma and they say, listen Chroma, whenever you pay this 80 lakh rupees, can you deduct a small amount and can you pay us and we'll call it TDS? Chroma says, why should I do that? You had only said that on purchase, this is purchase. On purchase, there should be no TDS. You had only said that when you purchase a shoe or a coffee, etc., there is no TDS, but the government said, yes, I'm changing my mind because you have purchased in quantity. Section applicable will be 194Q. Q shortcut is quantity. So the government said that now if you're purchasing 1 shoe, 2 shoes, 3 shoes, 5 t-shirts, no problem. But if you purchase, quantity basically means if you're purchasing in 1 year from one person more than 50 lakh rupees per annum, like from Voltas, you're purchasing worth 80 lakh. What if I was purchasing worth 42 lakh? No problem. But if you're purchasing more than 50 lakh rupees, then this section will apply. So quantity, there are 2 things you have to look at. First, the purchase should be more than 50 lakh. That's the first condition. Second, you are the payer in the middle. Your turnover last year, not this year, your turnover last year should be more than 10 crore rupees. These 2 conditions, if they are met, only then 194Q will apply. So Chroma's turnover last year is more than 10 crores. The purchase is more than 50 lakh. Okay, now TDS, what is the rate? The smallest rate that you ever heard, 0.1%. And that too only on the excess. After, guys, 194N notes, this is the only section which has excess. That means more than 50 lakh, excess is 30 lakh. On 30 lakh, 0.1%. So if you take the number is so small, 0.1 is only 3,000 the government needs. So the government here is taking this so that the government knows who's purchasing and selling in large quantities. Here, the government needs the money by the 7th of the next month. Voltas, you can take credit, don't worry, of this 3,000 rupees. And you need to give your PAN. If you don't give your PAN, 20%. But from 0.1 to 20%, it's crazy jump. And the government only for this section has made it 5%. Everywhere else 20% if no PAN, but here 5% if no PAN. Let's recap. This is only on goods purchase, not on services. So this is on goods purchase and this is not on shares, etc. Only on goods that are purchased from India. So condition, only goods purchase, not on services, not on shares, and this purchase should be from India from one person. Whenever you're paying this money or whenever you're crediting, whichever is earlier, this concept will come in additional points. That means Chroma has purchased these ACs in the month of December. They are going to pay this amount in the month of Feb. The government says, I can't wait till Feb, whichever is earlier. This is the concept, which is a common concept across all sections. We'll tell you in additional points. Let's recap. Section 194Q, Q means quantity. Are you purchasing in quantity? Yes. Are you going to pay? 2 conditions, purchase more than 50 lakhs and your turnover should be more than 10 crore. Then this TDS section will apply. 194Q, only 0.1% on the excess above 50 lakh rupees. Now that we've done this, let's recap all the sections till now. Let's see all the TDS sections at one go. How does this work? First is 194B, betting. 194BB bigger betting, 194BA betting app, 194O online, and 194N notes. This is the only one on excess right now, and 194 has been removed. Next, 194R was reels, 194S was speculation, 194DA was death amount, then 194I was rent, 194IA was immovable property that you acquired. Next, 194IB, this is for small individual, the house that is big and beautiful. 194M, misuse. Three sections that are common: 194H, commission, helper. 194D, this commission. And then there is 194HD, and then there is another commission, 194HD and G for gambling commission. Next, we move ahead. That was 192 on salaries, 192A for Aram, 193 was interest on securities, 194A Axis Bank interest other than securities, 194E extremely exhausting, which has now been removed. Next, this is 194, which is the one, yes, 194 only dividend, 194K is Kotak Mutual Fund, and 194P is pension, 194Q, which we just saw, is quantity, and all these are different TDS sections. The only thing you have to remember is you have to put the payer in the middle, always the government at this side, and always the person who's receiving column A and this side. And if you cross a certain threshold, there will be TDS. TDS rates from the smallest, we've seen 0.1%, we've seen 1% also, we've seen 2% also, we've seen 5% also, we've seen 10% also, and punishment we've seen 20%, 30% and MMR also. So these are some of the TDS rates you have to remember. Don't worry, go 5 sections at a time, remember 5, write them down, then remember 5, write them down, and like that you can complete all the notes. Now move on to the additional points. Some additional points you already know, some we will know right now. Let's see the additional points. First additional point, you need to pay the government by the 7th of the next month. This is something that you already know. Only for the month of March, that is the last month, you can pay by 30th April. That is the first addition. Second, whenever you are paying, remember that you need to take the PAN. If you don't take the PAN, then there are punishment. The punishment is generally 20%. But we've seen 2 exceptions. One is MMR for salaries, and 5% we've seen an exception for 194Q. Third, let's say I'm a professional, I'm charging some clients some fees, and I'm charging GST also. So example, I'm charging 10 lakh rupees plus GST. Then TDS 194J will apply, but on what amount? On the entire amount or only the 10 lakh? So they say the TDS will never apply on the GST amount, only the core amount there will be TDS. So in the exam, if they give you GST amount, ignore the GST amount and focus on the core amount. Next, if you are a payer, example, you are paying rent, and the rent you are paying to the government only. Example, the place that you shop you've taken on rent belongs to the government, and here is also the government. So if you are in the middle and both sides are the government, then it does not make sense to deduct TDS from the government and pay to the government. So in that case, there will be no TDS. But what if I invert it? What if P is here, or what if Mr. A is here, government is here, government here? Then there will be TDS, because Mr. A's amount the government wants to deduct. But if you are in the middle and both sides are the government, then there will be no TDS. That's another additional point. Next, as you know, you need to pay by the 7th of the next month, but sometimes delays happen. What if I was supposed to pay by the 7th of January, and unfortunately I could not pay? The government says, listen, if you forget to deduct and to pay by 7th, then we will charge you interest at the rate of 1%, because the government is almost like a money lender. So example, if I don't deduct and I don't pay by 7 Jan and I pay on 9 Jan, that means a delay of 2 days. Even 2 days, I'll have to pay interest on that amount at the rate of 1% per month. What if I don't pay in January, I pay on the 2nd of February? So 7 Jan to 2nd Feb, is it 1 month? No. Think like the government. The government says Jan is a different month, Feb is a different month. So 2%, 1% into 2 months. This is if you don't deduct and don't pay. But guys, what if you deduct? This is don't deduct and don't pay, 1%. But if you deduct the money, that means the government's money is with you, and then you don't pay, then the government gets super upset. Here the interest is 1.5% per month. So here you're deducting but still not paying, then interest is 1.5% per month. Let's see some more additional point. We've been talking about small individual and small HUF. Who are these small individual, small HUF? My shortcut: every individual, every HUF is small. You also, me also, Mukesh Ambani also, Anand Ambani, everyone is small. That's the assumption. So small individual is everyone except any person who last year had business or profession, and in the business your turnover was more than 1 crore, or profession your turnover was more than 50 lakh. Only then you're not considered small. So what if you're a salaried person, or income from house property, or IFOS, or capital gain, even crores, you're still small. You're the CEO of Reliance, still you're small, unless you have a business and profession last year whose turnover was more than 1 crore or 50 lakh, then this is small individual, small individual. Let's see any other additional point. Yes. Guys, whenever this payer is paying, example, he's paying rent, he's paying commission, he's paying professional fees, he's paying contract, the government says, listen, whenever you pay or whenever you pass the journal entry in the books, that is called credit, whichever is earlier. Example, this transaction happened in December, that means journal entry was passed in December, but you paid in February, the government says, I will not wait. So that's a shortcut here called payment or credit, whichever is earlier. In the exam, don't get confused. If they give you two dates, take whichever is earlier. And now some ICAI bomb which has been dropped, some income tax bomb on 1st October 2024. Your exam year is 24-25. So in the middle of the year, the government made a small change. They said we don't want to block a large amount, we're reducing the rates. So some section the rates have been reduced. From 1st October, these rates are applicable. So you have to remember, if the section or the transaction is up to 30th September, old rates, which we've discussed till now. And from 1st October, some rates have changed. Let's see which is the first one. In 194 DA death amount, which was 5 times your income, remember, now that has become 2%. So 5% has been changed to 2%. That is the first change. Next, if you remember 194H helper, 194D doctor's commission or insurance commission and gambler's commission, that also 5% has now become 2%. So this is the first change, this is the second change. Next, if you remember 194 IB, immovable property that is beautiful, and 194M misuse for small individual, their height used to be 5 feet, now it's just 2 feet. That's another big change. Any other change? Jealous professionals, no. Contract, no. Everything else is remained the same. So these are some of the places where your 194O also has changed, but it's not a part of your portion. 194Q, I'm just recapping. 194P, 194, I don't think none of those. So these are some of the things. Generally 5% has been reduced now to 2%. This is a big change, and the intention is that the government said, I want to block less money. So this is a good thing, but this change has happened only on 1st October 2024. So these are some additional points you have to remember. I'll tell you the important ones. This is not so important. This is important. 194 GST amount, this is important. This is important. Interest is important. Small individual is important. And remember, small individual, there are two sections, 194 IB and 194M. Payment or credit is also important, and this also is important. These additional points are important. You can note down all these additional points and the sections from my handwritten note folder. And once you finish that, we will now move ahead and we will start doing the sums as well in this next video. So this is a 1.5 hour video, which you can use anytime you want to revise TDS. Now over to the sums from our book. Okay, so now we move ahead to the sums and let's see what kind of sums are there. Once you know the section, the sum gets easier. Remember SRA, section, rate and amount, you should remember. ABC Limited makes the following payments to Mr. X, a contractor. So I'm just making a small diagram. Here is XYZ. Here is ABC. They are making a payment to X, who's a contractor. When you pay a contractor, remember the section is 194C, but the payment should be more than 30,000. So at first 20,000, no TDS. Next 25,000, no TDS. Next 28,000, also no TDS. If I total up 20 plus 25 plus 28, total becomes 73,000, no TDS. And now on the 1st of March, you paid 30,000 plus 30,000. So on the entire 1,03,000, I have to deduct TDS at the rate of 1% because the person I'm paying to is a individual. So 1%. So I will pay the government 1,030. And when I'm taking the last payment of 30,000 minus 1,030, so I'll be paying 28,970. Discuss whether ABC is liable to deduct tax as source under section 194C. Yes, he is supposed to deduct 1,030. Guys, mark this. This is a D kind of question. Next, discuss whether TDS should be deducted under section 194C in the following situation. Single contract of 30,000, no TDS. Two contracts of 30,000, no TDS. Four contracts, yes, because 4 into 30,000 is 1,20,000. So you've crossed the Lakshman Rekha of 1 lakh and hence there will be TDS. Single contract of 40,000, yes, because you've crossed the Lakshman Rekha of 30,000. 5 contracts of 15,000, 15,000 into 5, no Lakshman Rekha crossed. 8 contracts into 15,000 into 8 is 1,20,000, yes. And single contract of 1,15,000, yes. So the moment you cross either 30,000 or 1 lakh Lakshman Rekha, TDS will apply. Next, compute the amount of TDS on the following payments by Messrs S Limited during the financial year 24-25. Payment of 2 lakh to Mr. R, a transporter who owns 8 goods carriages. Up to 10 goods carriages, there should be no TDS if he gives you a PAN along with his PAN. So in that case, no TDS. Payment of fee for technical services 194J 25,000 and royalty 20,000. This I forgot to mention. In 194J PTNRD, professional technical, in that case you don't have to add. It is per category if it's more than 30,000. So you're paying to the same person, but you have to consider them per category. Per category it is not more than 30. It is not more than 30. In that case also no TDS. For repair of the building, contractor, but only 25,000. It is not crossing the Lakshman Rekha of 30,000. No TDS. Payment of 2 lakh to Mr. A for purchase of diaries according to specifications of S. So this specification there, is it a works contract? Now no material was supplied. If no material is supplied and this is not a works contract, so no TDS. 2,30,000 for compulsory acquisition 194 LA. It should be more than 2,50,000 and hence here also no TDS. Payment of commission should be more than 15,000. So here also guys, here in this entire thing there is no TDS at all. No. You have to quote the section. You have to quote that this does not cross the threshold and quote the threshold and hence there is no TDS. Ashwin, doing manufacture and wholesale trade, furnishes the following information. Total turnover of last year is 1 crore 5. So Ashwin is not a small individual because his turnover last year in business is more than 1 crore. His turnover this year does not matter. Examine whether TDS provisions are attracted for the said payments. Interest paid to UCO Bank. When you pay interest to a bank, 194A says small pub, when you pay interest, there is no TDS. Contract payment to Raj, 2 contracts of 12,000 each. This is not crossing the Lakshman Rekha of 194C and hence no TDS. Shop rent, 2,50,000, yes, 194I. IB will not apply here. I will apply because he's not a small individual. And commission of 7,000, no TDS because 194H says only if it's more than 15,000, so no TDS. So only one case, 194I, there will be TDS. Shop rent, 10% TDS will apply. Next, rent paid for hire of machinery, 2,60,000. Rent paid, yes, 194I, it's more than 2,40,000, so hence TDS at the rate of 10%. Fees paid to a doctor for surgery. Doctor is a professional, 194J, but because the personal purpose, in that case, guys, there will be no TDS. Now, here I want to talk about a person called third party administrator. Let's explain that concept to you. You go and you get admitted to a hospital and your bill is 5 lakh rupees. You have medical insurance of HDFC. So HDFC basically will pay a third party administrator. They will be in the middle. They will take the money from HDFC and they will pay to the hospital. And when they pay the hospital, 194J will apply because for third party administrator, this is a business, this is not personal purpose. But if you pay to the hospital, this is a personal purpose. ABC paid 19,000 to one of its directors as sitting fees. Section is 194J. Generally, the limit is 30,000, but for directors, there is no limit. This is the next question, the third question. State in brief the applicability of TDS at source provision, the rate and amount. Payment made by company to a subcontractor 3 lakh with outstanding balance of 1,20,000 shown in the books. That means, are you paying to a contractor? Yes, section is 194C. Is it more than 30,000? Yes, so TDS will apply. But on 3 lakh or on 4,20,000, they say even if it's a credit, even if the journal entry is passed, so on 4,20,000 there will be TDS at the rate of 1% because assuming you are paying to a per individual. Winning from horses is more than 10,000 and hence TDS under section 194BB, bigger betting, 30%. 2 lakh paid to Mr. A, resident individual by state of Uttar Pradesh on compulsory acquisition. This is 194 LA, but the threshold of 2.5 lakh has not been crossed and hence there will be no TDS in this case. All you have to quote is a section, rate, amount, threshold and whether TDS is there or not there. Srimati Vijaya, proprietor of Lakshmi Enterprises, made turnover of 2.1 crore during the last year. So she is not a small individual. All sections will right now apply to her. Her turnover for this year's 90 lakh does not matter. Decide with the provision related to TDS will apply in the following cases. Purchase commission paid to an agent 25,000. Will 194H apply? Yes, because it is more than 15,000 TDS at the rate of 5%. But if the same transaction happened after October, it will become 2%. Payment to civil engineer for construction of residential house for self-use. 194C will not apply because this is a personal purpose. And why will we not check 194M? In 194M, personal and all is not checked, but we will not go to that section only because this lady is not a small individual. Discuss the liability for tax in the following cases. Wings Limited has paid an amount of 15 lakhs to Airport Authority of India towards landing and parking charges. This is section 194C. Landing and parking, this is a contract and hence there will be TDS here. It's not rent, it's contract and you have to deduct TDS at the rate of 2%. Ramesh gave a building on sublease to MAC Limited from 1st July for a rent of 20,000. The company also took hire machinery from Ramesh, so both the rent is paid to Ramesh only and this is 15,000. So let's add up. From July, April, May, June is not there, so 20,000 into 9 months, 1,80,000. And this is from November, December, Jan, Feb, March, 5 months, so 1,80,000, 15,000 into 5, 75,000 plus 1,80,000 is 2,55,000, so hence TDS will apply. On rent of machinery, you will deduct 2% TDS, and for rent of land and building, you will deduct 10% TDS. Rupees 2,45,000 paid to Karnataka state government on compulsory acquisition of his urban land. What would be our answer? If the land is agricultural land, there is no TDS. Otherwise, also there is no TDS because the threshold of 2.5 lakh has not been crossed. Mahanandi Limited has taken a 3,000 square feet flat on rent from Yamuna Limited to set up its branch office. The rent paid to Yamuna for the flat is 60,000 per month plus applicable GST. On GST, of course, there is no TDS. Wishes to know whether tax is required to be deducted. So if you take 60,000 into 12, it's 7,20,000 and hence TDS will be deducted. Section is section 194I, TDS at the rate of 10%. All right. Perfect. Explain the context of TDS. Payment of 5 lakh made by JCP and company to Pingu Events Company for organizing a debate competition. This is section 194C. You gave them a contract. TDS at the rate of 2% if the amount is more than 30,000. KD is a director in a company, paid an amount of 2,25,000 as fees, which is actually in the nature of commission on sales. So this is basically you're paying to a director, so 194J, and you don't see the limit there. East Bengal Club, a renowned football club, has engaged Raghu as a resident as a coach. Guys, when you pay a coach, it is section 194J, professional fees. But if the coach is your employee, then section 192 will apply. This is not an employee. He's been engaged at a remuneration of 6 lakhs per annum. 194J will apply, TDS at the rate of 10% because it takes 10 years to become a professional. Winning by way of jackpot in a horse race, it's more than 10,000. So horse race is 194BB, TDS is 30%. Payment made to a subcontractor 3 lakh, balance is 1,20,000. This is 4,20,000 into 1%. This is something that is a repetition. Mr. X, a resident, acquired a house property at Mumbai from Mr. Y for a consideration of 90 lakh. Is it more than 50 lakh? Yes. On the same day, so on this, there will be a section called 194IA, immovable property acquired, TDS at the rate of 1%. Mr. X made 2 separate transactions, thereby acquiring an urban plot in Calcutta for 49 lakh 50. No TDS here because it should be more than 50 lakh. And rural agriculture land, anyways, there is no TDS. So TDS only on this one. Point number 15. Mr. Sharma, resident, 77 years old. This is that 194P pensioner. He is 75 years or more. Yes, he is getting a pension of 52,000 from UP state government. The same is credited to savings bank account. In addition, he gets interest at 8% on FD of 20 lakh with a said bank. Out of the deposit of 20 lakh, 2 lakh represents 5-year deposit made by him. Interest on savings credit to his bank account is 95. So basically 1 income, 2 income and 3 income, but they are only salary and interest. So section 194P will apply. First you have to become a CA. So you take his pension income minus standard deduction. You take his interest income and you get his total income. From that you will minus, because he's made a 5-year fixed deposit, as a 80C deduction. If you remember, girls life now needs 5. So 1,50,000 you minus there. Interest on savings bank deposit, FD, you will get a deduction 50,000. So his taxable income is 5,43,000. On that the tax is only 19,450. So as a bank you will deduct only 19,450. Next, what is the question? What would be the amount of TDS? This we've discussed. Is Mr. Sharma required to file his return of income? No. If he is following this section, then this return of income formality is not there. Would your answer change if the FD of 20 lakh was a different bank? So this is SBI Bank Lucknow branch and this is Canara Bank. Then in that case, this section will not apply. For this section, both the salary, pension and the interest should be in the same bank account. These are the sums on TDS. This is an advanced tax sum. We've solved this in class. So you can go through the sums, then you can go through the exam questions. In my handwritten notes, you'll see a lot of exam questions. You can go through them. They're not difficult and you will get a good idea of how to solve TDS question. Guys, remember TDS question as question number 2 is very predictable. So before you start other chapters, more complicated chapters, try and do this and wrap it up. If you find it difficult, break it up. Do one chapter and do 5 TDS sections. Do another chapter, do 5 TDS section. That way you'll get better at TDS and you'll have finished it in parts. That's a great way to approach this. This is the video on the sums on TDS. Watch the TDS part and then move on to the sums. Let's now begin the next part, which is return of income sums.